Welcome back to the channel. Today we are continuing our watch of Columbo Season 1 with Episode 6, Short Fuse. It premiered January 19th, 1972. Its guest stars were Roddy McDowall as the killer, Anne Francis, James Gregory, Ida Lupino, and William Windom. So fun fact, before we dive into this episode, Roddy McDowall actually played Cornelius in the Planet of the Apes movies. A couple of you pointed out in my reaction video to Suitable for Framing that Kim Hunter is the actress who portrays Zira in the Planet of the Apes movies, and I did not know that at the time. So it's kind of cool to see these actors pop up in Columbo here and there who are notable in other franchises. One of my favorite things that I'm discovering right now is as I go through all of these old series, I start to see a few familiar faces pop up here and there. As an example, I've been binge watching Bonanza, and I had seen some of that when I was a kid, but I decided to revisit it because I was just, curious. And as I go through Bonanza, it's like I'm seeing actors like Ross Martin and Robert Culp, and I'm like, oh my god, like I had no idea they were on that. Or a bunch of actors from the original Star Trek series, like DeForest Kelley's on it, James Doohan's on it, Leonard Nimoy's on it. It's really interesting to see these actors pop up here and there in these old TV shows, and then like seeing them in Columbo and drawing the connective tissue between each project. So that's also been really fun for me. A name in this cast list I recognize this time is William Windom, and he was in Prescription Murder, and I couldn't pinpoint who he was at first, and it was driving me crazy. And then I realized where I've seen him is as Commodore Decker in Star Trek the original series. He played the psychotic captain that briefly takes over the Enterprise, and it's one of my favorite episodes of the entire series. But there's such a good exchange between William Windom and DeForest Kelley, and they are fighting on the bridge of the Enterprise, and Bones is like, Spock, we cannot let Commodore Decker take over the ship. Like, he is insane. He's gonna kill all of us. And there's like such a good line from William Windom, and he's like, Doctor, you are out of line. And then Bones is like, so are you, sir.
Doctor, you are out of line. So are you, sir.
It's like one of my favorite interactions in Star Trek. Those are where I recognize those actors from. But let's go ahead and jump into the episode description for today. The description of the episode is, when an executive dies in a limousine explosion, the corporation's attorney becomes a suspect.
What?
Before we dive into this reaction video, do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell. I am trying to get into a regular habit of posting a Columbo reaction video a week. Hopefully, we're going to start getting to every Friday. You can expect a new reaction video to Columbo. And this year, I'm also looking to expand the channel beyond my interest in Columbo, such as to Star Trek the original series, Highway to Heaven, The $6 Million Man, Bonanza, and so much more. I don't know if I'm going to get to all of these this year, but those are some things that you can expect on this channel. So please make sure to press subscribe before you leave today and drop a comment, because I am always so interested to hear other people's takes on these Columbo episodes or what stood out to them. On top of that, we are almost done with Columbo Season 1. After this, we have one more episode, which I believe is Blueprint for Murder, and then we are done with Season 1, guys. Finally. We are nearing the end of Season 1, and we are going to be heading full force into Season 2. So if you don't want to miss that, please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel today. Oh, you guys, I wanted to show you this. So before we dive into today's episode, I thought I would show you this little notebook that my friend got me for my birthday. Just one more thing. Isn't that awesome? It kind of matches. It literally matches my sweater. That's awesome. I didn't even notice that. This is what I'm going to be making my notes in from now on for these videos. So thank you to my best friend Lily for gifting this to me. It's like one of my new favorite things. So that's what I'll be taking notes in from now on. I like the contrast of the blue and the red there. Like the light looking blue and then in the red and dark room. We're Roddy McDowall as Cornelius. Love this. Dun, 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 dun. Y'all, one could say that he's about to embark on some spontaneous merriment. Sweet outfit, Roddy. Denim on denim. The bell-bottom jeans. He would be an intolerable human being.
Roger, what is the matter with you?
Yeah, 15 seconds in, he's already the most punchable
I
person.
came right over the moment you phoned.
I was afraid you'd gone home. I tried every place in the plant. What were you doing in your dark room?
Don't worry. You were underexposed.
You didn't. You didn't develop those pictures.
You know, I've been analyzing this stuff. Why doesn't our plastics division
Will you
ever
get
make...
into your uncle? He is very
No,
upset.
wait. Have you checked to make sure that Benson packed everything he needed? I mean, the royal cravats, the gold toothbrush.
I do love his voice, though.
No cigars. Benson, you are fired. And you, Miss Bishop, you are next. Do you realize what will happen when the great DL wakes up to find no box of Fidel's finest?
I was just going to get them. Now, will you stop this? Roger, he's got Quincy in there with him.
Oh, you know, I love that worried expression on your face. Now, you just hold it. Hold it.
Roger, stop this and get in there.
All right, then.
Boy, he's intolerable. He's already got the most punchable face.
When I was 17 years old, I told my aunt not to marry him. Oh, DL, your syntax is terrible. Who is going to believe this anyway? I mean, a statement from me approving the sale of a company that my own father started. I mean, he'd roll over in his grave.
They'll believe it, all right, if you tell them that you've lost your interest in chemicals, you don't care about working here anymore, and you're going to Europe.
Oh.
I've got to calm my people down around here,
Oh.
Roger. I've got to get rid of this rumor, this silly fear that the sale of the company is going to endanger their jobs. It's not. It's not going to change anything around here.
Except at the top. Yeah, and what about your vice president? I mean, how long is Logan going to last when they find out how he opposed you? He thinks the sale of this company is criminal. Me, I don't matter. I didn't inherit enough stock, but Aunt Dory did. And I tell you, you haven't persuaded her yet.
If she hadn't bent over backwards to spoil you and pamper you when she took you in as a kid...
Call him out.
Oh, Quincy, isn't he amusing? Until you married my aunt, but he couldn't marry your stock. What's the matter?
I found the place where you gamble in Vegas. This is a letter from a handwriting expert that'll swear you forged your own signature. Item. The drug thing in college. Item. The mess in Acapulco, and this is a photostat of that car theft report.
Tell me now, Quincy, what is it? What's wrong?
I do love
The
his
wire
voice,
hasn't-
though.
It's not working?
Tomorrow, some of the attorneys from the conglomerate are coming up to meet with me at the cabin in Pinewell, discuss the terms of the sale. And tomorrow, you release that statement to the press. Otherwise, I'm afraid I'll have to show her all this.
Blackmail.
You really would, wouldn't you?
I would.
I'll sign it tonight. Anyway, I mean, who wants a chemical company?
Ah, gentlemen.
Good
Roger.
afternoon,
Hello,
gentlemen.
Junior.
Hi. Oh, and good night, Uncle David.
Roger.
Ugh, slap him. He's so punchable, though, dude.
They haven't sicked Quincy onto you yet.
Roger, shall we see each other later?
Why not? Yeah, I've got this little job to do first, but it shouldn't take very long.
Got this little murder to commit first, but yeah, we can get together after. Whatever suits your fancy. I feel like I should do a video ranking
Wasting your time, Fergie.
the
It's
killers
rain.
on Columbo,
Good
like
night,
their
Junior.
outfits, ranking them by outfit.
Oh, Fergie, I am sorry.
Now I kind of
I've got
want to
to
do
tell you
this.
something. Could you look under my hood? I think I've got a loose plug wire or something.
Like ranking all the Columbo killers' clothes. A crime of
Oh,
fashion.
you have missed a spot here, Fergie.
I
My
don't want to
uncle
do
will not
it
like
now.
that.
Should I do that video? Drop a comment. Let me know if I should do that video. Oh, that would be so funny. Maybe I should do it with my dad. That would be funny. The old cigar switch. Man, those old cars were so cool. Oh, I'm not taking notes. I should probably take notes on what I think of these episodes.
You're crazy,
Right.
Junior. The wiring's okay. Hose clamp needs tightening a little, that's all.
Well, rest in pieces, Quincy and DL. Every time somebody lights a cigar, I can just smell it. like fills my nose. Love me some groovy music from the 70s. Reminds me of the Brady Bunch. I do not remember this sequence at all. At least I don't remember like the groovy music being played over it. It's a weird contrast. It just doesn't match up. Like, this is a bit of an odd choice. Oh boy. The music is kind of weird. Like, I get that it's like casual before a disaster, but it's so weird. I don't remember this. Genuinely don't remember this at all. At least not this nightclub scene. I'm sorry, maybe I shouldn't laugh, but it does kind of feel slightly comedic. It was an interesting choice there. I'm sorry. I don't remember that sequence of the lady dancing in the cage. I just blocked that out. I have no memory of that. It's just so trademark 70s. Groovy dancing. Who were you in Columbo? Oh, well, I was the lady in the cage dancing to the groovy music. Sorry, that was loud. I know we changed the make and models of cars to make them safer for people to drive in. But the cars in the 70s were so cool. They just looked sleeker. They looked like they were more fun to drive. They made statements, you know? Kind of like how that jacket on Roddy is making a statement. Hello.
Oh, sir? I mean, you're Mr. Sanford, aren't you?
Well, obviously. And who might you be?
Oh, I'm sorry, Columbo. Lieutenant Columbo. I'm from the police.
You mean that old heap out there is yours?
Oh, yeah. Needs a coat of paint, doesn't it?
This is where the chauffeur lives. See, was on my way home tonight. I thought I saw his door open.
You did?
Yeah.
The chauffeur?
Yes.
You mean Mr. Quincy, the fellow who was driving Mr. Buckner tonight?
Yeah.
Well, I better look in here. Couldn't you find the light?
Well, of course I did. I mean, that's how I found out nobody was home. Lieutenant, just what are you doing here now? What has happened?
Mr. Buckner, he sort of disappeared.
Well, ma'am, I checked with Highway Patrol, and there's no report of any accidents on those roads.
There, you see?
Oh, Ida Lupina. Lupina or Lupina? Ida.
Lieutenant,
Anyway, that lady
owe you a drink.
was in a later Columbo episode, wasn't she? I think the one with Johnny Cash.
Tonight of all nights.
Maybe?
Roger, I called the commissioner of police, and he said he'd send over his very best man.
Yes, he did.
Is that a fact?
Well, my wife, she says I'm second best, but she claims there are 80 fellas. I don't mind being sent out on a false alarm. I just hope that this is one. She got this message. Here, I'll show you.
Message?
Yes, he called just before I got home from the opera board meeting.
Not the freeze frame. Sorry if my popcorn eating's bothering you.
Hold on just a second.
Want me to pull over and open that for you?
No, it's all right. I got it. I'm on my way up to the cabin now. So I'll see you tomorrow, Sunday rather. Sunday afternoon or evening sometime. But what I wanted you to know is that Roger, well, he's made a decision about something. It might not be exactly what you figured it would be, but to my way of thinking, it's a wise decision. Bye-bye for now, darling.
Gee, I'm terribly sorry about that. Here, I've got something.
Yeah.
Set him off.
Roger, you're just as concerned about him as I am, aren't you?
What?
You seem so upset. I'm surprised because you don't like him very much, do you?
Well, actually, I've been growing much fonder of him lately. Did you call him back?
Yes, I tried to reach him on the car phone. There was no answer.
Don't you worry, Mrs. Buckner.
Fine.
We're gonna find him.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
Right, good night. Listen, by the way, I didn't want to mention this to your aunt inside, but, is it possible that Mr. Buckner might have wanted to stop someplace without telling anybody? You know, visit somebody in private?
No, I don't think that's any of your business, Lieutenant. It certainly is none of mine.
Sorry. Good night.
Good night.
Is your watch broken? Your watch?
No, why?
Oh, it's nothing important. It's just that inside I noticed you kept looking at it.
Well, you know, Lieutenant, people do look at their watches.
Yes, they certainly do.
Raj,
Raj is quaking.
what did you want to talk to me about tonight?
See, I had this idea I might like to work in the legal department for a while. David said it was fine. I start there Monday.
Oh, life would be so simple if you two could just get along.
We're going to.
Some view, huh, Lieutenant? It's only a 15-minute ride. Look down there. About a 2,000-foot drop.
He's so mean.
Over here.
I'm
The only way to
utterly
scale that
terrified of
rock,
heights.
You have to be a mountain goat. You need helicopters to build this thing.
He's playing it to
Don't
perfection
worry.
too.
This tram is absolutely safe.
Yeah, I would be really I can't speak. I would be very uneasy on one of those. I think I have been on one. Yes, I have been on one before, but that was a while ago. He's just frozen. He plays that to perfection. One of my favorite Columbo moments is when he gets off the plane when he's with Leslie Williams in Ransom for a Dead Man, and he's like holding onto the side and then he slides off. He's such a good, nuanced actor.
At the base of the cliff. Now here we are. Now it's just about a half hour or so down the road.
It's not just come out of my nose. I'm a big fan of actors who really understand nuance. Like, Peter Falk expresses so much with, like, his eyes and his quiet mannerisms make him such a great actor. He's able to convey so much with so little. Now I'm just thinking about Columbo sliding off the side of the plane. It's like one of my favorite scenes.
Step out here on this ledge, you get a better view.
No.
Right over there.
Thank you very much. That would be necessary. Thank you.
Well, maybe the car skidded and smacked that rock and the gas tank blew.
Well, maybe something inside the car blew.
Exactly.
Dead is dead, isn't it?
Now, this talk of
Hello, William Windom.
that it is not an accident.
Well, the lieutenant was here again today, and he said that they always have to investigate. Did I tell you that David had decided to put Roger in the legal department?
Did he? That is something of a switch. Roger and I have become friendly. I know he's made mistakes in the past, but I think he's coming along very well.
And he is a Stanford. And somehow I always thought he might be in charge someday.
Roger? Is this the same Roger we're talking about? Again with the portraits.
You don't think David was murdered, do
My
you?
casting photo.
And if either you or Roger have any problems with the police, you let me know.
William Windom.
You know, to look into the dark. Secret weapons.
Roger needs to provide me with that photo immediately.
You think that maybe somebody killed my uncle?
Oh, no, we don't know anything for sure just yet.
Huh.
He's just making it on his face as he's talking.
Having something like that right next to your own office. You know, my kid brother, he's an on photography, too. Wonderful hobby.
Well, Lieutenant,
I kind of want to draw
work
that
on
now.
Inventions in there, and you are very lucky. Acid or some cyanide or so.
But you really know that stuff, don't you?
I had my PhD in
Stop
chemistry
talking,
before I was
dude.
21.
You don't say. You know, I knew you'd be the one that could help me.
Boy, he's really exposing himself as the killer rather quickly in this episode, isn't
Now
he?
you see my problem. So you think someone put a bomb in his car? A large corporation is like a jungle, Lieutenant, to coin a phrase.
His cigars?
Yes, Benson told me that he dropped off Mr. Buckner's suitcase here at 6 o'clock, but no box of cigars. He said that you told him that you were going to take care of that.
Yes. Yeah, I keep a supply right here. Funny you're asking about cigars, that's all. You see, Mr. Buckner had a little pocket cigar case.
Here.
What?
Don't touch that.
Well, why not? The cleaning lady just gave it to me. She said she found it underneath my desk. It must have been in Mr. Buckner's overcoat. That's where he always kept it. And you see, Benson put the overcoat on the suitcase, and it must have fallen out, that's all. I guess I just didn't notice it.
What's the matter, Lieutenant? Did you think someone had stolen it?
Well, it did seem like a kind of a coincidence. On that telephone tape, you could just barely hear cigar case missing, no cigars in the dash.
Oh, so, you thought that someone wanted him to open a box of cigars while he was still in the car, I suppose.
Well, it was a possibility. Listen, by the way, Miss Buckner said she'd try to reach you that night. She thought you'd be working late here in the office, but...
Oh, no. No, you see, my mother was expecting me to work late, and I knew she'd be going to bed early, so I went to a movie.
Miss Bishop, the lieutenant is from homicide, and obviously he is
God, I just
under
want
the
to
impression that
punch
the
him.
accident was caused by an exploding cigar.
What?
Well, now, you see, Lieutenant, Miss Bishop,
What?
got the box of cigars from here.
Never saw cigars quite like this before.
Are you suggesting that something was wrong with one of those cigar boxes?
Of course not. The lieutenant is just simply wrong. See, if there was an
Columbo.
explosive in that car, it would
Beg
have
your
to have
pardon?
been placed somewhere else. If somebody tampered with it or switched it, that would have to have happened here, right?
That cigar is huge.
Miss Bishop, will you tell me how long did DL's suitcase sit there in the middle of this floor with people coming and going?
Oh,
His pants are a little tight.
30 minutes.
But you were here at that
Why are his pants so tight?
Oh, didn't I hear you say that you were here?
His pants are really
Right,
tight.
I can remember Mr. Logan, Joe Stevenson, Bernheimer. Would you make a list for the lieutenant? Yeah, and put down there anything else you can remember. You know, anything like stolen boxes, boxes given away. Just anything.
What's the matter, Miss Bishop?
The vice president. Well, he has a supply.
I have about 4 boxes left.
Did you say 4, sir?
Yes, that's very strange.
Everett Logan.
Why, Lieutenant? I thought you were investigating David's accident.
Just covering all bases, sir. I mean, we haven't found anything suspicious.
He thinks there might have been a bomb in a cigar box.
What? Well, that's just a theory.
What?
Well, of course we'll
10 out of 10,
cooperate
line
possible.
delivery, William
That isn't
Windom.
very much of a lock, and I've had
What?
several meetings here. Roger,
Roger.
what the devil is going on around here? Does he really think it wasn't an accident?
There's that theme again. His unofficial theme.
Boy, this plan of yours is really something. You know, you can get lost here just wandering around.
I told you, Lieutenant, this plant is not mine.
I wonder where they
It
shot
belongs to
this.
my Aunt Doris. Hey, and you know, about Logan. You know, he was right when he said there were a lot of people in his office.
I did
Anybody
enjoy
could take that
how
box.
the shot started far back and then came
This
forward.
fellow Logan, he's quite a friend of yours, I guess.
He has been nice enough to take a good deal of interest in my work lately.
And I found this in the waste paper basket in the other apartment above the garage where the chauffeur lived. It looks like it's some kind of a report from Mr. Quincy to Mr. Buckner. Quincy claims that Mr. Logan, for some funny reason, was trying to upset you over this sale thing, using you to manipulate your aunt.
Hey, let me see
No,
that.
I'd rather not. It's just hearsay. Oh, by the way, Benson mentioned that Quincy was one time a cop?
Well, I knew that he, or suspected rather, that he did some extracurricular work for my uncle, you know, checking up on people.
Well, you see, I couldn't find the
They're
typewriter.
giving this away so easily.
And Benson, he had an idea that Quincy might have had another hideaway someplace. You know anything about that?
Sorry. Car's right over here.
Oh, thank you very much. Okay.
Ah, what a shot. Columbo and his Peugeot. I kind of want to draw that now. I wonder where they filmed this. I wonder what location this was filmed on. Ah, that was delicious the way that engine turned on.
No piece of the cigar box yet.
No. It's funny. There's some things we're finding intact, others smashed, others burnt. I thought you might want to see this.
Piece of the gas tank.
Yeah. And it did explode.
The autopsy report's not much help either.
I heard.
Just burns. Nothing on the tissue to prove any foreign inflammable. Well, something will turn up.
Well, how can you be so sure?
Well, it's a big corporation. Kind of like a jungle, to coin a phrase.
Roger's character is so cartoony in a lot of ways. He feels like a Looney Tunes character brought to live action. I mean, he literally kills his uncle and Quincy with a cigar box. That's already extremely Looney Tunes of him.
There shouldn't be anybody in there. Cover the front. I'll get the back.
What is happening?
Roger, I don't believe it. What were you doing?
Nothing. Well, I do wish you would listen to me, Aunt Dory.
You haven't answered me.
I can't.
Would you mind leaving us alone?
Oh, that's the
please?
house from Ransom for a Dead Man.
They told me to bring him over here, but that doesn't mean I can
Very
let him out
cool.
of my sight.
Listen, I got here as fast as I could. Where is Farrell? Oh, good evening, ma'am.
Lieutenant Columbo,
Where
I'd like
is
an
Farrell?
explanation of this.
Look, I told her where we caught him. He broke and entered, tore up the place, resisted arrest.
They literally jumped me. I thought you said to me that you had no idea where Quincy's hideaway was.
Well, I didn't. But then I remembered this car salesman that Quincy was friendly with, and he did. Lieutenant, look, if I could just talk to you alone for a few minutes.
Excuse me, please.
We got quite a bit of information from his file. Dossiers, actually. I left Charlie there to go over them. Now, what I brought you is a couple of things here that I think...
Dossiers? What kind of dossiers? Something about Mr. Logan?
Well, what makes you say that?
You see, this afternoon I found something in the pocket of one of David's suits. Some sort of report about Everett Logan. Personal information. Very damaging.
From Quincy?
Yes.
May I see it?
I burned it, Lieutenant. You see, I finally realized that David was using Quincy to keep tabs on the executives.
Now, there is quite a bit of stuff on Logan there. Also on a couple of other executives. Only take a look at this. This is what I took off the kid when I caught him. That's the only thing he tried to get out of Quincy's. And I guess he was in quite a bit of a hurry because he forgot the negative.
Honestly, Roger just may as well confess already.
I want to speak to Mr. Stanford for a moment. Oh. I think we can settle this right now.
Hey, wait a minute. That's evidence, lady.
No, don't let us see them. Aunt Dory, you give them back.
Valerie, Bishop, and David?
Look, why do you think I went there? I knew Quincy would have something like that. Now you've let her see the very thing I never wanted her to.
It's all right, Rog. I have to see everything. But I'm the only one, do you understand, Lieutenant? And I want this trash burned.
But, ma'am, we can't destroy evidence.
There's no evidence if there's no murder. And you haven't proved there was a murder.
But, ma'am, if we had a little more time...
Lieutenant, will you please get out of here and leave us alone?
Look, I'm sorry about what's happened here tonight.
Lieutenant, please get out.
That's the best conversation in the whole episode. That's the best interaction in the whole episode.
I'm truly sorry.
Oh, Rog. I like that woman very much. All the time, she and David.
I never wanted you to know about this. Ever. I mean, I've known for a couple of years about them, but... Well, it's only recently that I realized that Quincy was beginning to snoop around. I went to David. I asked
Would have slapped him.
He refused.
No wonder he turned against you. I've misunderstood everything so.
What's wrong?
Oh, excuse me. I just found this on the desk. It's from the personnel manager.
Well, that's a pink slip. That stupid personnel department. You're not fired.
But I don't understand.
Don't you worry. We'll see each other a lot. Yeah, a lot. Yeah, a lot.
Casting photo.
I don't want to be disturbed, Miss Bishop.
Well, it's Mr. Logan and Lieutenant Columbo.
Tell them to come in. Ah, gentlemen.
I hate to interrupt like this, Mr. Stanford, but Miss Bishop said you were in.
So I am.
Miss Bishop seems unhappy. Did something go wrong?
I have no idea. Could you explain the reason for your interruption, Lieutenant?
Well, I came to get you. And Mr. Logan here. Of course, the funny thing, I found him cleaning out his desk, too.
Whatever for, Everett?
I've been fired.
You're fired?
It was your aunt's request. She wouldn't even talk to me on the phone when I called.
Oh, obviously it's a mistake.
Obviously. We were rather close, if you'll remember. You wouldn't have any possible idea why she might have changed her mind about me, would you?
Oh, no, none whatsoever. Lieutenant, you've taken an inordinate length of time to come to the point.
Oh, well, I heard from the people at the Pine Wild Sheriff's Office. They're going to meet us at the bottom of the grade. I just thought you'd want to know what they found. I mean, you are interested in any latest development, aren't you?
Of course I am.
All right, Mr. Logan, let's go.
Fine. Doris will be up at the cabin, and I want to talk with her.
Just a minute, Lieutenant. If this does concern my uncle's death, I suppose in good conscience I should go along.
Fine. I've got the car outside.
Good, the bait worked. Let's go.
Hi, Sergeant. That it?
Oh, I forgot the top comes down.
That it? Yep. Pretty good shape, too, considering.
What is it, Lieutenant?
I think that we ought to get this information to your aunt in a hurry. So let's go on.
No, I sent her up to the cabin so she wouldn't be disturbed. Anyway, it would take us hours to get there in the
No, we'll be there in no time. Here. Yeah, your aunt put me on this contraption. She said it was a lot faster than driving. A lot safer. Oh, she's right. Well, let's look at this, huh?
Ho ho ho.
That's David's cigar box.
I told you this would be worth coming out for, didn't I?
Cringing yet, Raj?
Yeah.
This whole thing is in one piece.
This means that David was not murdered, doesn't it, huh?
Oh, yes, sir, yes. This changes everything. There's no question about it, yeah.
Columbo is Columboing so hard right now.
That's comforting news. Even so, I'm afraid she's not going to be very happy to see me up there.
Why, do you think that she blamed you for her husband's death?
Well, I certainly do. I mean, after all, I was the one that was fighting David on this cell business. If I can just get Doris to tell me why she let me go.
Yeah, I think she fired you for a couple of reasons. Like those secret meetings that you had with the competition last year, like that patent that you sold to a friend very cheaply.
What are you talking about? Those are lies.
Really? Well, Mr. Quincy wrote them all down in a report to Mr. Buckner.
Well, then Quincy made them up himself. They're simply not true.
You promised Aunt Dory never to say anything about that. What are you trying to do? Cause more trouble?
I mean, everything's changed now, isn't it? Because of this. You know, and then there was that thing with Miss Bishop.
Lieutenant, that is private information.
Wait a minute. What thing with Miss Bishop?
Look, I am warning you.
Well, you see, Miss Bishop and Mr. Buckner, you know, for the past year or so, they've been...
That is enough!
You know something, Roger? The truth is hard to find. Sometimes.
Well, sometimes it's right in front of you and you can't prove it.
What?
Do you know, I had a whole theory worked out how you could have fixed this box here. Oh, yes. I had a theory worked out how you could have done all sorts of things. Now, turns out to be just an ordinary cigar box.
Man, he's trolling him so hard.
Don't you think you should take it to a laboratory and have it examined? I mean, now you've got all these fancy theories. What on earth for? The theories are all wrong. Mr. Logan, would you care for a cigar?
No, thank you.
No? And you know, and the funny thing is this, Roger. This whole thing could have been a plan of yours. Like those reports of Mr. Quincy's.
He's egging him on so hard, I love it.
And the photograph between Miss Bishop and your uncle? Any good photographer could trick that up. You know, you just do some double printing.
Oh, yeah.
And replace one figure with somebody else's. See, now there you go. You're looking at your watch again.
Would you do me a favor? Would you please keep quiet?
Why? It's only a dumb theory of mine. I mean, it only goes to prove how wrong I can be.
Columbo's going like this to him, metaphorically. Right? Right? Right?
And now it's just you. Of course, you had to fire Miss Bishop. I mean, an executive secretary, she probably knows too much.
Everett, are you just going to sit here and let him just mumble on?
Why not, Roger? It's all very interesting.
You are more of a fool than he is. Will you just shut up? Roger, what's bothering you? What's the matter? Shut up!
Oh, my... We have got to get rid of that box.
Why? What for?
Shut up! Give me that box. Give me that box! Ah! Give me that...
Where did you get that box?
And he's smoking one.
From your secretary.
My secretary?
Yeah, she had 3 boxes. I hope you didn't mind.
I don't suppose I do in this case, Lieutenant. Aren't those supposed to be evidence?
I guess they are. It's a shame, though.
Keep them. Let him keep them. You've been got, Roger. That's a pretty good gotcha. That's a pretty good gotcha. And his laugh. It's a pretty good gotcha. Okay, guys, I've just been collecting my thoughts on this episode. I don't know that I'm going to have a ton to say on it because personally, in my opinion, it's kind of on a similar level as Dead Weight. I don't think that there's anything like super memorable about it, but here are a couple things I liked nonetheless. I really like Roddy McDowall's voice. I don't know, maybe it's his Planet of the Apes-ness, but he speaks in like a really certain way. It's like very like soft and understated. I don't know, I think his voice is very pleasing to listen to. Maybe he should have done ASMR.
That's a funny thing to say.
Just kidding. He is different from other Columbo killers in the sense that he's a little more cartoony. I don't know if I felt that I could take him seriously as a threat. Like if you compare his character to Jack Cassidy's in like Murder by the Book, for example, like Jack Cassidy is scary and feels like a threat, and here Roddy McDowall's character, Roger, just kind of feels like a minor nuisance. And I don't think that's his fault by any stretch. I don't think that's him. I just think that the writing was kind of flat for him, where it's like, oh, you might be a problem, you might not, and even if you got away with it, you'd be fine. I feel like the writing was like, oh, he's super smart, he's a genius, and he's super smart. I felt like they were telling us more than they were showing us.
I had my PhD in chemistry before I was 21.
You know, I brought up that that Looney Tunes thing. I'm like, oh, haha, he's like a Looney Tunes killer. It's like they plucked him out of animation with like Wile E. Coyote. He puts the cigar box in the car, but surprise, it's a cartoonish bomb, and it explodes. But they tried to make it out like he was some sort of genius for putting the bomb in the cigar box, and it just felt like a little convoluted to me.
So you think someone put a bomb in his car?
That's all, folks.
I think that was more on the writing of his character than it was actually from his performance. I do think that they kind of exposed Roger early, and it felt like you could have just slapped at the end on this episode after about 20 minutes. It just felt like things could have resolved a lot earlier, and I didn't know why we were seeing this through to the end, if that makes sense, because some of the clues just felt like such dead giveaways to me. Things like Roger looking at his watch in the beginning when he's in the office with Columbo, and then Doris being like, well, you know, Roger's uncle just really, really despised him in front of Columbo. And then after that, Roger's character says to Columbo, oh, you know, well, I have like a science degree, a science engineering degree.
I had my PhD in chemistry before I was 21.
And it just felt like by dropping all those hints so early, it feels like they could have wrapped the episode up sooner as opposed to dragging it out. And for me, I didn't feel like I had to work for it. And I think the best Columbo episodes really make you work for the answers that Columbo's trying to get. And it just kind of felt like I was being spoon-fed. It didn't feel as engaging as other Columbo episodes, like Murder by the Book. Like, I felt like I was really engaged, and I felt like I was really working for Columbo to nail the guy. And I felt like this one was just, honestly, it just felt very basic. Like, the plot and the killing, it just felt very simplistic, and it just wasn't as engaging to me, I would say. That sequence when Roger is waiting for the bomb to set off in his uncle's car. That was an interesting editing choice. I don't know if I hated it or if I liked it, but just having like the groovy 70s music playing as you're waiting for this bomb to go off, I thought it was a choice. I don't know how I feel about it. I'd be interested to know what you guys thought of the groovy music playing as the bomb's going off. I thought that it felt a little gimmicky. I'm not even gonna lie, it felt a little gimmicky, but it was an interesting choice, especially when looking at the comparison of like Lady in Waiting as an example. It's just an interesting editing choice that they went for there.
Everything's groovy.
I think a big part of this episode for me is the ensemble cast. I felt was kind of weak. Like, I didn't really connect to them as I've connected in other episodes of Columbo with the ensemble cast. Even if a character is minor, if the writing gives them something to work with, they're just as engaging as Columbo. And I didn't really feel like they gave the ensemble cast much to do. Like, I didn't really feel as engaged with them. I think William Windom, except for the last scene, was criminally underused in this one. I felt like they could have done a lot more with him and maybe pitted him and Roger against each other a little bit more, you know, maybe build up the suspense, maybe make us think that Roger would kill Everett. The Aunt Doris character, played by Ida, whatever her last name is, that is now slipping my mind. The aunt, I felt like they could have done more with her character, but I just really struggled to empathize with any of them. If you look at something like that as compared to Suitable for Framing, where I do find the ensemble cast empathetic, like Dale Kingston's girlfriend, you have Mary Wicks in there, and she's got an extremely minor role, but like, you really like her in the few minutes that you spend with her. You have Kim Hunter as Dale Kingston's aunt. You have the butler, you have the lawyer character. When you have an ensemble cast like that you can empathize with, I think it uplifts the quality of the Columbo episode, because you not only care about Columbo, but you care about the people that he interacts with, not just the killer, but the ensemble cast that are affected by the killing as well. And I think in this episode, I just didn't feel much in regard to the rest of the ensemble cast, and I wanted to, and I think that kind of hurt the episode in the long run, because I just felt a little bit indifferent and I couldn't engage with it as well. I will say one of my favorite scenes in this episode, which I did not expect to be a favorite scene, is the scene where Doris yells at Columbo to get out, and he's still trying to like talk to her, and she goes, no, you're gonna get out of this house right now.
Get out of here and leave us alone.
Look, I'm sorry about what's happened here
Lieutenant,
tonight.
please get out.
that was good. Like, I liked that. Like, I was engaged with that, and I thought it was entertaining, and I would have liked to have seen something more like that. He didn't even really have, like, confrontations with Roger's character. Like, I didn't really feel engaged with Columbo versus Roger, but in that one scene with Doris, I immediately felt engaged, and I was like, oh yeah, like, this is it. Let's go. Let's get more of this. So there's, like, hints of awesome stuff in the episode that I just don't think that they went to town on as hard as they could have. Didn't really think that there was a lot of chemistry between Roddy McDowall and Peter Falk. Again, I don't think that's them. I think that's like the quality of the writing. I don't think it really served either actor particularly well, but that's okay. I wrote down what in all caps with an exclamation point and a question mark because there were so many instances in this episode where somebody went, what?
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 But the best one was William Windom's. 10 out of 10 line delivery, no complaints there. I liked the shooting locations in this one. I liked the way that it was shot. It felt very, I don't know if it was like the quality of the episode that I was watching on Amazon, but in general, the filmmaking just felt very modernized, and they had some really nice shots and interesting cinematography. So that was nice. Honestly, in general, I think that this episode's probably on the same level as Dead Weight is for me. I think it's definitely on the weaker side of Columbo season 1 episodes, but the worst episodes, I wouldn't say, not the worst. The weaker episodes of Columbo are still better than a lot of TV that's being made today. It does kind of feel like this episode was an afterthought, and I don't think I would rank it too high among other season 1 Columbo episodes. I don't think it's terrible, and I still think that there are nice things to appreciate about it, but it doesn't stand out for me in season 1. But you might disagree with me, so make sure you drop a comment and let me know what your thoughts are or what stands out to you. And as I'm saying this, I'm thinking of one more thing about this episode, and that would be the outfits. I don't know who decided on Roddy McDowall's wardrobe for this episode, but the blue outfit was not it. It was not it, and it was way too tight on him. So, you're gonna lose points for that. I don't know who decided to dress him in that outfit or why, but that was not it.
Everybody's looking at my tight pants. I got my tight pants. I got my tight pants on.
Now I really am tempted to do a prime of fashion ranking the killer's outfits from Columbo. I kind of want to do that video now, so drop a comment and let me know if you would like to see that. I think we're ready for a little excerpt from Shooting Columbo, don't you guys? I'm sorry, I'm thinking about that outfit now. It was awful. Oh, interesting. Short Fuse was filmed after Blueprint for Murder, but Blueprint for Murder is listed as the final episode of season 1. So Short Fuse was filmed after. They were behind schedule, and they only had 10 days to shoot it because Peter Falk was going to fly to New York to do a Broadway play called The Prisoner of Second Avenue. And so they had to rush it. That actually explains so much. Okay, so Jackson Gillis wrote this episode, and it says, Gillis, the master of the pop, did devise another memorable climax in Short Fuse. He needed Stanford, played by Roddy McDowall, to admit that he had planted the bomb in a cigar box. So Gillis had to have Columbo discover the box intact and then trap Stanford in a confined space where he thinks the unexploded bomb is about to go off. The Palm Springs aerial tramway had recently been used for an episode of Mission Impossible. Gillis suggested the finale be staged aboard a tram car slowly descending from the 8,500-foot high mountain. God, that's really high. During the off-season, the Palm Springs tram was closed to the public every Tuesday and Wednesday, giving the crew 2 days to complete their work. As originally scripted, the episode was to end with Columbo looking down at the fine cigars strewn upon the tramcar floor, bemoaning, "It's such a shame. These are such beautiful cigars." At the last moment, the writers tweaked the finale. They had Columbo pick up several of the spilled cigars and slip them into his inside coat pocket. When it's pointed out that they're supposed to be evidence, he laments having to return them. Okay, I did not mention this in my little mini review of the episode, but I did really like the finale a lot. I think it was a really, really good gotcha, because it's just Columbo and Everett trolling Roger, and it's just, I think it's like peak Columbo. He's just, well, gee, I don't know. Like slamming on the box.
Because of this.
Trying to get him to freak out.
Roger, what's bothering you? What's the matter? Shut up!
I thought the ending was good. I will say that. I think that the episode gets points back because the ending, the climax is really, really fun. The one shot I do love is when the camera is behind Falk and Windom, and McDowall is in the frame and he's on the floor with all the cigars. William Windom and Peter Falk are just looking at each other and like, yeah, well, you know, didn't you say that, you know, the cigar box, you switched it out with the one in my office, isn't that right? Well, yeah, that's true. And they're just trolling him, and you can see Roger on the floor, and then he realizes halfway through and he stops and he looks up. I did think that that was a really well done finale. So the episode does get points for that. Okay, so the episode was directed by Abrams. It says Abrams became one of the few Columbo directors to shoot an episode on schedule. As an elite film cutter, he knew exactly when he had gotten what he needed on film and did not feel the need for a 3rd or 13th take. He also had a trick for getting the action moving, giving Falk fewer opportunities to dwell on each line and request additional takes. He shot a number of scenes from great distances and had Falk and McDowall record their dialogue later. It didn't hurt that Falk knew he had to make a hard deadline to make his Broadway rehearsals, and he was also preoccupied with checking in on the post-production of Blueprint for Murder. So Blueprint for Murder, like I said, is going to be the last episode of season 1, and Peter Falk did direct that one because he had been complaining and fighting with NBC about not having directed an episode up until that point. So when we go back to Blueprint for Murder, we'll probably revisit Short Fuse again because those 2 episodes did affect each other, but we'll get into that next week. Critics roundly hailed Columbo as the best new show of the season. The audience grew week by week. Comedians began working Columbo impressions into their sets. Columbo mania was exploding. The reaction was arguably too much for Falk. After each performance he did of The Prisoner of 2nd Avenue, he'd meet with reporters and well-wishers who expressed little interest in his stage performance. When people come backstage, they don't really talk about the play. It's Columbo, 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 Falk moaned. I'm going nuts. That's valid. Like, I'd be frustrated too if I was doing a Broadway play. And people are like, okay, screw that play that we just saw. Tell us about Columbo and the popular television series that you're in. Like, that would frustrate me too. That would be really, really, really annoying. Valid, Peter Falk. I feel you. I actually have a lot more I want to say on that topic, but that's another video for another time. What did you guys think about Short Fuse? I would be really interested to know your thoughts. Please drop a comment. Please like and subscribe before you leave today. Please click that notification bell. Thank you for watching today's video, and I will see you next week when we watch the finale of season 1, but not really, Blueprint for Murder. So make sure you come back next week and check that out. Have a great rest of your days, guys, and I will see you in the next video. See you later.